It's 6 years later. It's time to regrade the Colts 2017 draft class. This was a pretty bad one. Probably Chris Ballard's worst draft class. Although he got one impact player that is still in the team, one of the best nose tackles in the league. Other than that, there's not too much to talk about. Maybe Marlon Mack or Anthony Walker. Those three players, really the only ones worth mentioning from this draft class. So Malik Hooker is worth mentioning, okay? Quincy Wilson was with the Colts for 3 years, traded to the Jets. Who was before Zach Banner? Before Zach Banner, it was Terrell Basham. He was on the Colts for 2 or 3 years. Zach Banner didn't even make the team in 17 after the draft. This is a pretty bad draft, right? And we're going to go through, we're going to grade and give my thoughts on every single pick. And, let's talk about Chris Ballard's first draft and how far he has come from this draft. So, first pick, Malik Hooker. Now, this one kind of stinks a little bit sometimes because Malik Hooker, his rookie year, it was like 4 or 5 games into the year. He had 3 interceptions. He was killing it. He was just incredible. And then he tore his ACL. Year after that, he came back. He was okay. He wasn't anything great. He wasn't fantastic, but he was a good safety. He was good. Year after that, we were expecting him to take that next step to really come back to that beginning of the rookie year form. Never happened. He took a step down. Year 4, he got injured. I think it was an Achilles or ACL tear. Julian Blackmon steps in. The rest is history. He doesn't return, doesn't get the second contract, goes to Dallas, and he actually revitalizes his career in Dallas. So let's talk about, I don't think it was the injury that really killed Malik Hooker's career in Indianapolis, okay? I think the system changed it. Now, the Cowboys run a nice cover 3 system. They do run a lot of man, but it gives Malik Hooker the chance to be that single high safety who patrols the middle of the field and could use his instincts. Couldn't do that in the Tampa 2. He was not good in the Tampa 2 system, and it was evident. The moment he was out of the Tampa 2, the moment he was gone and Julian Blackmon was in, the communication, and there was not as many bus coverages, and just the communication in general was much better. Now, am I saying that Julian Blackmon was the sole reason that the communication got better? No. But maybe Malik Hooker didn't convey certain messages the way you'd expect for being such a high pick in the draft. And, just in general being very talented. He's very talented, but he seems like he's a bit of a scheme-based safety right now. He excelled in year 1. Granted, it was only 4 or 5 games, but he was playing incredible. He, at the time, he baited Carson Palmer. That was impressive. He caught one-handed picks twice, I think. When I get to see there's a highlight reel just for the rookie year for 4 or 5 games. If that doesn't tell you anything, then I don't know what. But then the injury. So we kind of the year him coming back from the ACL, we're like, yeah, maybe it's just it's an ACL. Sometimes you don't come back right away, especially with speed and that playing a big role in his game. And as a safety, speed is very important. It really is. You can get away with not having speed, but you need to do other things really well. Be technical, that kind of stuff. So, then the year after that, the 3rd year, we're like, okay, he's got another year under his belt in this system with Matt Eberflus. He's he's had a whole year to get that knee ready, to get it even better and stronger, and it just took. So, grading this pick, it's tough to grade, right? He had a really nice beginning to his rookie season. He had a nice second season. 3rd season was below average. 4th season, he got hurt. Now, if this was a 2nd or 3rd round pick, I'd probably give it a C, considering you got 2 nice years out of him. Barely. Considering he was middle of the 1st round pick player, he's in the 1st round, you expect him to stick around for a little while, and you expect him to be a very good player for this football team. Whether it's great or elite, or at least very good for a bit, for a couple of years. Didn't happen, so I'm giving it a D minus. It should probably be an F, but I'm taking into consideration of, him having that nice second year. I don't know, because it doesn't really matter if you pick him the first round. You really want multiple. I'm going to change it to an F. And it hurts me because I like Malik Hooker. I still have a Malik Hooker jersey. And, he has a confidence, great character coming out of Ohio State. His draft process was great. He just didn't turn out with the Colts. And, being a middle of a first round pick, you're expected to be a pretty damn good player for quite a few years to come. And considering those expectations and where he was drafted, I think it's an F. Now, if it was a second or third round, I think maybe you could throw in a D plus or a C, just a flat C. Bit of a sticky situation there, but it is what it is. He always showed flashes, just couldn't put it all together. Give it an F. Number 2 is Quincy Wilson. So, Quincy Wilson, year 1, he showed a lot. He was pretty good. First few weeks, he's looking like a really nice cornerback. And Quincy Wilson and Malik Hooker were supposed to be the next solid cornerback safety duo for the Colts. It just didn't happen that way. Quincy Wilson, like I said, he showed a lot the first few games. You were impressed and were like, Quincy Wilson can really become that guy for us. And he got hurt. And then when it seemed like he was ready to come back, the Colts just didn't play him. And it was until the room got really thin again with injuries that they played Quincy Wilson. And we once again saw why he should have been playing. And year 1 ends, and you get excited, and you're like, year 2 is probably going to be a big year for Quincy Wilson. We're excited. Didn't turn out that way. He wasn't great. He wasn't very good. He was a pretty bad cornerback, and it seemed like he was struggling to get along with staff and stuff like that. So it's kind of questionable, on that side of it. I thought he had some talent, and he did. He had a hard time staying consistent and putting it together. And that sucks because it seemed like he was going to be a good player. But after 3 seasons, he was traded to the New York Jets. Now, being drafted in the second round, like I said, kind of a similar thing with Malik Hooker. Now, did he really have any type of season like Malik Hooker had in terms of, performance, 2 different positions, sort of? No. I think Malik Hooker, his best year was better than Quincy Wilson's best year. And it's not really saying much because Quincy Wilson was hurt majority of the year. Came back, he played great. We were excited for year 2. It just never transpired and never translated, never became what we thought and wanted it to be. But considering we got 1 really good year play out of him, 2 years of nice depth, of decent play, I'm giving of decent depth, okay play, I'm giving it a D plus. And it's just a matter of fact of me, hey, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt of him having a good first year. And being a second round. Now, if he was a first round pick, it's an F right off the bat. Just Malik Hooker. I think Malik Hooker's not a straight F. I think Quincy Wilson's a straight F. You don't have to think about it. Malik Hooker, it's a kind of a different story. You have to think about it a little bit. But next guy doesn't get much better. You have Terrell Basham, a defensive end. He had a few nice years with the Colts. I don't really have too much to say about him because there's not much to say about him. Coming into Indianapolis, we're like, maybe he could be the next edge rusher because I think this was after Robert Mathis retired, 1 or 2 years after it. And we're still looking for the guy. And we've had that stretch where we really did not have a nice edge rusher. I think we had Jabal Shear at the time, though. Although, Terrell Basham never produced. It was never anything, really, honestly. He had 2 years with 4 sacks. 1 year, I think his rookie year, had 2 sacks. 1 of the years he had 2 sacks. Other than that, he didn't play much. Yeah, he had some decent snaps, but it was actually after year 2 he was already gone. I think it was after year 2 he was gone, and he was traded, he barely played year 2, and he was traded after year 2. So, for the Colts, it's a straight F. Zach Banner, he didn't make the roster, and he is a 4th-round pick. You're expected to at least make some kind of contribution whether you're a depth player, whether you're a rotational player, or you're an okay player, maybe below average, and you're just getting it done, you're filling in, kind of depth. F. Then you make the roster. There's not much else to really go through there. Marlon Mack is the next guy drafted. This is a good pick now. Marlon Mack, he was awesome when he was with the Colts. He was a fan favorite. You really liked what he had and what he brought to the table on the field and off the field. He had pretty good ball carry vision. Yeah, he struggled with yards after contact sometimes, but he had a nasty stiff arm. You guys remember the stiff arm in his rookie year he had on Jadeveon Clowney when Clowney was a Defensive Rookie of the Year candidate. He stiff-armed to put Clowney into the dirt. I love that play. Every time I think of Marlon Mack or I see his name, that's the first play I think of, and it's incredible. It's incredible. I suggest you go watch it. Maybe I'll put a link in the description if you want to go see it. But Marlon Mack, he's a good player for us. I don't think he ever played a full season. I think he did have some injury concerns, and he was a solid running back. But we were able to get better with Jonathan Taylor. And I'm not going to knock him for that. His injuries definitely do hurt. But he was a very high-impact player for 2-3 years for us. So I think this is an A pick. It's the 4th round. You get a high-impact player for 4 years. And, you just get a different running back that's drafted, considering, right, he had some injury concerns. So maybe he could lower to maybe an A-, B+. I think an A is fine for where you drafted him and the impact he had on the team for a couple of years. I mean, the second year with Jacoby Brissett, if we didn't have Marlon Mack, I mean, what did we have? He really brought something to the offense there. And really, year 1 with Andrew Luck, he played actually with Andrew Luck, that was year 2. Very good. He learned under Frank Gore for his first year. And then the 4th year, because the 4th year was after the Jacoby Brissett year. He got hurt, I believe it was an Achilles tear. ACL was a serious injury. He was going to be out for the rest of the year. Jonathan Taylor comes in, and he's the guy. And then Nyheim Hines is still behind Taylor as well. So it's just a testament to just how the running back position is, and how the NFL is. We've seen Chris Ballard seen a different player with the higher ceiling. He went with him, and he paid off. And in the NFL, you can't be scared to get better, and that's what the Colts did. But for being a 4th-round pick, and the difference he made in 3 years, it's only 3 years. He was a 4th-round pick, but it was a good pick. Maybe I'll go B+. Maybe B+ is more fair. I'm going to go B+. I know I kind of changed up the last second there, but I feel like that's more fair, considering he was hurt last year and he was hurt, a bit. Yeah, I still think it's a great pick, no matter what. And you have Grover Stewart, the only guy that is still on the football team. He is one of the best nose tackles in the league. I think he's a one-tack. Yes, he's one of the best one-tacks. And, he's one of the strongest, great character. He's getting better in his pass rush. He's one of the best run defenders in the league. This is a great pick. And, he didn't come on right away. I think the first year or two, he was very quiet, didn't really do much. It was really when DeForest Buckner showed up and he had a little bit of help, and Grover Stewart took off with DeForest Buckner, and ultimately those two have made one of the best defensive interiors in the NFL, together as a whole. So Grover Stewart, this is an A+ pick. He's still in the team. He's an incredible player. He's playing really well, and you drafted him in the 5th round. Yeah, it took him a year or 2 to get going, maybe 3, but he got going. He's been very good. So I think Grove is more than worthy of an A+ pick. He's never been injured. What you'll notice with this draft is their first 4 picks were all horrible. And the rest of the picks were pretty solid outside of Nate Harrison. Because after Grover Stewart, you have Nate Harrison, who was not a great player. Nate Harrison, I think he was drafted to be a slot guy. Although he was 6 foot, he had some speed. He was horrible. I think, it was after 2 years he was traded to the Jets, and, he didn't last long there, where their secondary had damn near no one as well. Nate Harrison just didn't work out on the team for 2 years. One thing that I can say that's good about Nate Harrison is he was a good special teamer. And for being a 6th round pick, sometimes you just look for depth in a special team. Now, he played a lot because the Colts cornerback room was pretty damn bad at the time. You know, it's still an experience at the moment, but at that specific point in time, it was very thin. There wasn't much talent in there. I don't know. I don't think Vontae Davis was on the team at that time. I think he was already gone to Buffalo. I'm trying to think who else we might have had. I don't think we really had anyone else. So, you know, Xavier Rhodes was on the team at that time. It was... I'm trying to think. There was a corner that we had. We didn't have Kenny Moore yet. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think there were really any other corners that are worth noting. So, yeah, I'm giving it a C. I'm giving it a C because of the special teams contribution for a 6th round pick. Although he wasn't good at his listed position, he was a very good special teams player. And that alone gets a C for being a 6th round pick and being a great special teams player. Because sometimes when you're in the 6th and 7th rounds, you're looking for those special teams guys. And they got that. Now, was he even good depth? No, he was just a horrible corner, but he was a pretty good special teamer. Last pick here. He's not on the team, but he was a good pick. And there's reason why you didn't re-sign him. He is Anthony Walker Jr. That's right. You see the smile on my face because he's a fan favorite. Everyone loved Anthony Walker Jr. Everyone from in the locker room, the players, the coaches, all the staff, to the fans, the owner. Everyone loved him. He was a great leader, a great Mike linebacker. He was very smart, had all the call-outs. He was a communicator. And when he left, even though you had Darius Leonard, who still had an incredible year, you noticed the lack of experience with Bobby Okereke. Bobby Okereke, he was a good linebacker that year. And he eventually has gotten even better. After the Giants' 4 years, $10 million a year. Pretty damn good money for a linebacker. He's very good. But that's the reason why Anthony Walker was let go, because we had other guys ready to go. We had a Bobby Okereke ready to go. And Bobby Okereke, he's better in pass coverage. Anthony Walker, he was very good against the run, very smart, filling the lanes, very disciplined, as Okereke was too. But Anthony Walker really dramatically struggled in the pass game, pass coverage, and he still does. He's still with the Browns, and that's what he really struggles with. When teams are passing the ball, they tend to target him because of how bad he was in pass coverage. He was, he had good reps here and there. It just wasn't his game. It just wasn't his cup of tea in this year's in this day's NFL. There's only so far that can take you. So this draft class in general, I honestly think Grover Stewart is the only one keeping this class from being like a D- or an F. I mean, because your first 4 picks are the most important. Yeah, you got some impact players in Marlon Mack, Grover Stewart, and Anthony Walker with 3 of your 4 last picks, but you hit on 3 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 picks. That's a third of your draft, and you made no contributions with your first 4 picks. So I'm gonna give it a D+. I'm gonna give it a C-. A C- because of Grover Stewart, Anthony Walker, and Marlon Mack being on the team for a few years and making a pretty good impact. So I want you guys to let me know what you think about this. Thank you for tuning in to the JDW Sports Talk Show, where every fan is welcome. If you enjoy this video, make sure to like, subscribe, put that post notification bell on so you don't miss any future videos. We're going to be doing let me know if you guys would like to see the 2016 class. I will keep going further back, but I think I'm going to go to 2021, and that's going to be it for the draft classes. Regrading and going through all of them. So that's it for me. This is JDW Sports Talk Show. Signing off.